just a pig, a traveling trophy between Iowa and Minnesota football. There's a racial element to it. And what a terrific story how two governors resolved a racial tension issue with a pig from Fort Dodge.
Good morning, everybody. We gather here today in north central Iowa, the home of Floyd of Rosedale, the most widely recognized trophy in all of college football. So here we are today to officially dedicate the great Floyd memory, the trophy, on the grounds where he was born.
My name is Dave Flattery. I am a banker with Avail Bank here in Fort Dodge.
My name is Randy Kuhlman. I am the CEO of the Fort Dodge Community Foundation here in Fort Dodge.
My name is Jim Kirsten, live here in Fort Dodge with my wife Lori.
I come from a family of 6. 5 of us are Iowa State grads. 3 are actually letter winners at Iowa State. 3 of us played baseball at Iowa State. But my mother was always an Iowa fan. Well, she passed away in 2013. And she'd always tell us that Floyd of Rosedale was from Fort Dodge.
The Rosedale farm was out where Floyd now is located. And so as kids, we used to go out there and, we didn't really understand the significance of Floyd of Rosedale at all.
So in '34, Iowa was visiting Minnesota, and Iowa had a black running back by the name of Ozzie Simmons. At the time, there were very few African Americans playing Division I football, and I believe he was a second-team All-American. Ronald Reagan broadcast that game for WHO, and he thought that Ozzie Simmons was one of the best running backs that he'd ever seen. So they travel up to Minnesota, and they mistreat him, and he came off the field several times injured, and the fans, Iowa fans, were not happy. The Iowa governor wasn't happy, and so there was a lot of tension from 1934 to 35, to the point where they didn't know if they were going to even play the game, from what I understand. And so Minnesota came down to Iowa City, and I believe they stayed in the Quad Cities because there was a lot of tension in Iowa City. So on the eve of the game, the night before, Floyd B. Olson, the governor of Minnesota, wired Clyde B. Herring and said, "Hey, to resolve this difference, let's have a wager." And so they wager a live piece of pork. Whoever lost that game would have to present a live piece of pork to the winning governor. Al Loomis, he had a prize piece of livestock on his farm, which was the Rosedale farm. And so he called the Iowa governor. He says, "Hey, I got this prize piece of livestock." He's the brother to Blue Boy. Blue Boy was in the movie State Fair, the original movie State Fair. And so, sure enough, he was a prize piece of livestock. And so they actually walked it into the State House, the Capitol, and presented a live piece of swine to the winning governor, and that was Floyd B. Olson. And they named him Floyd, of course, after the governor, and then the Rosedale Farms.
3, 2, 1. Cut away, Terry Branstad. All right. Welcome Floyd of Rosedale to his true home, indeed.
What better way to bring recognition to Fort Dodge and to a great story, and the possibility of building a statue that retains the story, the legacy. And so I thought it was a neat idea. I made some calls, and I'm not sure. I had nobody said, "Hey, that's not a very good idea."
We were really looking for something that represented it well, but couldn't be exactly like it, but also had a real artistic component to it. And ultimately, Dale Merrill, the sculptor and out of Mount Vernon, presented his project to the committee, and it was unanimously supported. And when Dave and we went down there, and when Dale was putting the project together, and we went into his studio, and we were extremely surprised by, number one, the size of it, number two, that it's really made out of 6 layers of steel. So it's really, the artistic design is absolutely amazing. it's quite a structure, but it's also got a real artistic look to it as well.
I think the significance going back to the 30s and resolving a racial issue by a friendly bet between two governors was priceless. And I think over the last maybe 10 or 15 or 20 years with leadership in Fort Dodge, public and private, we truly are showing the country how things can get done. And I think this is an example of a variety of people coming together to raise a lot of money privately and for a good cause. So I think it's a real good message to send not only Iowa, but the country, that leaders need to sit down and figure out solutions.
In a sense, this is kind of a legacy to my mom too, is that, you know, all these years she talked about Floyd of Rosedale, and she kept the articles, and so yeah, maybe it's a legacy to my mom as well in her belief in the Hawkeyes. She would have been very proud to know that, hey, there's a statue commemorating Floyd of Rosedale and all the characters that were associated with it.